Lattafa, afnan, and Swiss Arabian. These are the big three in Middle Eastern fragrance houses. We've got a selection of samples from each of these houses to try today. All of these samples come from an online retailer called hiddensamples.com, but this is an unsponsored, unbiased review. I have 6 samples in total, 2 from each house. Let's get into it. The first fragrance we'll be smelling is Swiss Arabian Primal Code. My first impression of Primal Code is that it smells a lot like Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Male. It's got a heavy musk mixed with a sweet, powdery freshness. This is definitely an all-rounder, crowd pleaser type of a fragrance. And I would say it has a lot of utility. You can use it for just about anything. It's casual and comforting while also still being classy. I'd say the only exception for wearing this fragrance would be in the high heat. This is really nice. It's got the Ultra Male backbone, but it's got a lot more freshness up top in the way of a blue style fragrance. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds here. I think this fragrance would make a great gift for any men in your life. I see just about everyone enjoying this fragrance. That being said, in my current collection, I probably wouldn't buy a full bottle of this just because I feel like I have a lot of similar style fragrances. And I could almost layer a few of those together to get this. But all that aside, I'll give this a solid 8 out of 10. The next fragrance is from the same line. This is Swiss Arabian Pure Instinct. Pure Instinct makes me think of Dior Sauvage. It's citrusy, it's peppery, and it's shower gel clean. This is definitely a more laid back fragrance, something you use just to freshen up for the day, maybe go to the gym, run errands, or something to just throw on to stay fresh while you're on shift. Yeah, this is definitely in that family tree lineage of Sauvage or Bleu de Chanel, maybe even Dylan Blue. I feel like these fragrances are a dime a dozen. Not to say that it smells bad, but it's kind of, if you've smelled one, you've smelled them all. But again, in a smaller collection that doesn't have anything like this, it's a solid recommendation. I'd definitely pass on a full bottle though. But still, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Moving on to the next house. This is Afnan 9 AM Dive. So 9 AM Dive is very much juicy, fruity, and aquatic. I would say if you took 25% Versace Pour Homme and mixed it with 75% Acqua Senziale Blue, you'd get pretty close to this. So you've got that really juicy fruit up top, something like pineapple or melon, and that tapers off into this sort of soft, powdery, oak mossy vibe. This definitely has a more relaxed, laid-back tone. It's definitely got that ambergris, ambroxany sort of muskiness as well. Slightly salty, slightly marine. A little bit of spice in there too that's making my nose tingle. Again, this is very pleasant and very appealing, but at this point it's a been there, done that. So not a full purchase for me, but I'll still give it a 7 out of 10. Alright, so coming up on the halfway mark, and these last 3 will prove to be way different than the first. So next up from the house of Afnan, we have Turathi Brown. Whoa, now this is unique. To me, this almost has like a sweet chocolate, leathery facet to it. And I would even say cacao rather than chocolate because cacao has that sort of subtle fruit element to it as well. And there is sort of a fruity characteristic here. I like this. This is really intriguing. There's a lot going on here. All right, so call me crazy, but to me, this kind of smells like a chocolate covered berry, like a strawberry or raspberry. Like it has a very rich and decadent smell. It smells very luxurious. I like this one a lot. I think this is the type of fragrance to get somebody to fall in love with you. Like when you get the scent of someone else on your clothes and it's just lingering there all day and it's just reminding you again and again of them. I think this one is gendered as masculine, but I could definitely see this being unisex. So I already have Turathi Blue in my collection, and it's looking like I'm gonna have to add Turathi Brown to it too. I really like this. This gets a 9 out of 10. Now moving on to the House of Lattafa. This is Bade'e Al Oud, Honor and Glory. So I've seen a fair amount of hype over this fragrance. People describe this as smelling like pineapple and creme brulee, which from that description alone has me really excited. So a lot of times when fragrances describe pineapple as one of their notes, it tends to smell more like a natural pineapple. rind and all. Whereas the pineapple in this reminds me of like a pineapple gummy bear, which oddly enough doesn't come across synthetic, it just comes across concentrated. And despite me comparing it to candy, it's actually not overly sweet. It's got some nice warmth from spices in here and sort of like a tonka or vanilla, sort of like marshmallowy sweetness. It's pretty good. Now, to be quite honest, I don't know if I would personally reach for this to wear unless it was more woodsy or musky, because really all I'm getting from this is that pineapple and it comes across a little too childish for me. However, I will say if you're into fragrances like this, I think that people will definitely like smelling this on you. But I wouldn't necessarily call this fragrance masculine. I would definitely love to see Lattafa take this specific pineapple note and sort of see what else they can do with it, because I do like that part of it. But yeah, I'd probably pass on this one. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. So this last sample is the reason I got any of these samples to begin with, and it's the one that I've been anticipating the most. This is Lattafa Atlas. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is unlike anything that I've smelled before. So I heard this described as extremely salty while also being green, and I couldn't really wrap my head around what that meant exactly. But that's exactly what this is. Honestly, I feel like Atlantis would have been a more appropriate name for this fragrance. It conjures up a lot of images of surfing on the waves of the ocean or like a coral reef. To me, this smells like if Calvin Klein Eternity started taking testosterone. This fragrance really is gorgeous. I don't know if there's an ingredient in here or if it's just the sheer strength of this fragrance, but it is starting to go to my head a little bit. I've heard also online that this fragrance has tremendous lasting power, which has me a bit intimidated, but damn, this is a fantastic fragrance. I definitely want to pick this one up. Lattafa Atlas gets a 9 out of 10. I always love doing these sample hauls because I get to smell a whole bunch of things at once. So if any of these Middle Eastern fragrances sound like something you'd be interested in, once again, I picked these up from hiddensamples.com, and I'll leave that link down in the description below. Reminder that they are not a sponsor, but I am a happy customer. If there's any other Middle Eastern fragrances you guys think I should sample next, leave it down in the comments below. And I'd very much appreciate a subscribe as well. Thank you guys for watching. This is Jordinary World, and I'm Jordan. And if you didn't know, now you know.